Welcome back to the Ally Invest Digital Conference. Next up, we have Glenn Tompkins from VectorVest. He's going to talk about how to refresh and reset your portfolio. Now, Glenn has been an instructor for the past 16 years with VectorVest. He's taught thousands of investors all across the world. He was born in Brooklyn and has served our country as a U.S. Marine. He's actually used this background to apply timeless lessons learned in combat. He likes to discuss how to improvise, adapt, and overcome in the markets. These lessons are applied with the stock market with a playfulness that makes learning fun. And I'm going to agree with that. Now, that was a little bit of a canned intro on Glenn, but Glenn and I have been friends for a long time. We've swung a golf club or two. And I think if you looked in the dictionary next to fun, you might actually see a picture of Glenn there. I wouldn't be surprised. Even his title. Today, we're going to talk about diversifying and rebalancing your portfolio. But Glenn likes to title it Refresh and Reset Your Portfolio, Taking Gains and Cutting Losses. I think that's a great intro for Glenn. I know how fun and how much passion he has when he speaks. So without further ado, I'll pass you off to Glenn Tompkins. Hello, Glenn.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Brian, for that wonderful introduction. I do appreciate it. And we have swung a golf club a time or two, and it was a lot of fun. But today, once again, as Brian said, my name is Glenn Tompkins. I'm a senior instructor here at VectorVest. I've been trading with VectorVest or teaching with VectorVest for the last 16 years or so, and I love doing this. And I think that the title of today's presentation that I'm going to do is very on point with what's going on in the market. You need to know if the stocks that you're currently in are stocks that you should still be in. And if you need to reset your portfolio or get into new positions, how do you do that? So it's all about taking gains and cutting losses. So from this point, I'm going to get right into the VectorVest software. What we're looking at right now is the home page of the VectorVest software. There's a lot of things here, but right now I will concentrate on what's going on in the market today. As you can see, all of the major indices within the market are currently down. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means, first off, you don't panic sell. One day doesn't make a trend, but you are still going to be cautious in what to do and how to do it. Learning to take the emotions out of trading and start to initiate and look at some positive things to do or the right things to do at the right time. VectorVest puts all of that information in your hands. So a down day today, we have a color guard that we use like a traffic light. What's the main color you see? Yellow. What does this mean? It means to be cautious right now, but we notice that we have all three lights being represented in the color guard. I won't go over everything that's here, but just from a visual standpoint, this is a time to be cautious. All three lights are being represented here. The market's having a hard time getting a stranglehold on what it wants to do, sort of like turning the wheels in sand, not getting any traction. So we're going to keep our eyes on that, but that's what's going on in the market. Let's talk about analyzing stocks. I'm going to go to the top, click on our Viewers tab. From our Viewers tab, I'm going to show you right from the beginning. This is our viewers homepage. And there's a lot of viewers that we have instilled within the software that you can use to find all different types of stocks depending on how you invest in the market. The beautiful thing about us is we're not a one size fits all. Everybody invests differently, and we encourage that. So depending on how you invest in the market, we can help you analyze any stock in our database and help you to make the right decisions. In the current US database, we track over 8,000 stocks, almost 8,200 stocks. Globally, though, we track over 19,000 stocks in several different markets. So we're not a fly-by-night company. We've been around over 30 years. So the analysis that I'm going to walk you through is something that is tried and true, and we'll get into it. All right, so we're going to go to our watch list viewer because I created a watch list of stocks for us today. I put them into a group called Ally, and I put it for the Ally Summit. Now, once I click on that watch list, stocks within my watch list will pop up. As they pop up, there's a master indicator for ranking all of the stocks that are in this watch list. So they're not just thrown in there willy-nilly, they are automatically sorted. The VectorVest software automatically starts to do the work for you in regards to the stocks that you own. So I've got a lot of stocks that a lot of people out there should know about, and many of you may be trading them right now. Here's that master indicator, VST, and all of the stocks are sorted, so the stock with the highest combination of value, safety, and timing will be at the top of the list. All right, so that is the software in and of itself. Now, let's break it down. As you look into getting into the market, VectorVest believes that every investor should know what a stock is really worth and how safe it is. You need to know how safe, you need to know what a stock is worth, because we rather have you in a stock that's undervalued. How do we continue or configure value? We look at things like earnings per share, earnings growth rate, and those kinds of things to give an intrinsic value on a stock. And from there, you can tell if your stock is under its value or over its value. But when we look at value, value increases when earnings go up, inflation goes down, and interest rates go down. Folks, there's three things that move markets globally, and you're looking at it. I don't care what anybody says or any of that kind of stuff. There's three things that move markets globally. Earnings. When earnings go up, companies are making money. If they're making money, they're able to reinvest in research and development, hire new people, give raises, a lot of different things. But inflation and interest rates are the bad guys. When inflation goes up, it costs more money to buy things. It takes out of a company's pocket. When interest rates go up, well, it costs more money to repay a loan as a company. That takes more money out of my pocket as well as a company. So the Goldilocks scenario, earnings are rising, inflation and interest rates are going down. Well, currently interest rates are still at historic low conditions, right? We're at a 0 to 0.25% as far as interest rates are concerned. Inflation, well, the Fed says inflation is right where it needs to be. We're not way over. Leave that up to you to make your decision. But these are the things that move markets globally. So this helps us in understanding or giving an intrinsic value to a stock. Now, the next indicators I'm going to talk about are VectorVest proprietary indicators, and they are all cast on a scale between 0 and 2. We make it real simple. If the indicator is above the value of 1, it's favorable. If it's below the value of 1, it's unfavorable. Real simple. What is relative value, though? Relative value is an indicator of the long-term price appreciation of a stock. Think about that. The long-term potential, sort of like a value play, a stock that compared to a AAA corporate bond, will this stock make money compared to that AAA corporate bond? Well, you buy a bond, it matures. After it matures, you get your money back with a little interest. It doesn't blow the doors off the market. Well, relative value on a stock tells me if my stock that I'm looking at should overperform that AAA corporate bond. So it gives me a longer potential on a stock. Next indicator, relative safety. It's an indicator of risk. Well, if you're longer term, you probably don't want to be in a risky stock. But if I am more of a trader, maybe I'm willing to give up a little bit of that risk to accomplish the goals that I'm trying to get to as a trader. So it is still just an indicator of risk. It looks at the consistency and predictability of a company's financial performance. Layman's term, does the stock make money quarter over quarter, year over year? Those are the stocks that consistently and predictably meet or exceed their earnings expectations, attract investors. Keep that in mind, right? But again, if I'm looking to be a little bit more aggressive, I might be willing to give up a little bit of that risk. Next indicator, relative timing. It's an indicator of the short-term price trend. This is an important one, especially if these are stocks that you own. Relative timing tells me if a stock is going up or down in price and how fast it's going up or down in price and the dynamics behind it. So if I'm in a stock that's got an RT above 1, the stock is in an uptrend. The higher above 1 it is, the faster in an uptrend it is. Now, if RT is below 1, the stock's in a downtrend, and the further below 1 it is, the faster in a downtrend it is. So looking at that indicator for RT or of RT, can definitely help and signal what stocks you may own that you might need to refresh. Again, these indicators will be at your fingertips, and you can very quickly discern which stocks are still doing well and which stocks are not. Now, we take all three indicators and wrap it up into our master indicator that list was sorted by, called VST Vector. It is our master indicator, and it combines RV, RS, and RT into one single indicator. Now, when I can look at the VST on a stock, I can take a $5 stock, compare it to a $50 stock, and because of that master indicator, I can put it on the same playing field. So no matter what the price of the stock is, I can see which one has the better combination of value, safety, and timing. That's cool information without having to do a lot of research to determine what stocks are good or favorable and what stocks are unfavorable or need to come out of my portfolio. Now, I've built that watch list. Let's go put this into practical application using those indicators. As I open up the software again, here's my watch list that I created. Again, stocks, many of these stocks that you should already know about. Apple, which happens to be one of my favorite stocks in the whole wide world. It just makes money. But there's also a bad time to be in a good stock. Never lose sight of that. Just because you own that stock, you love that stock, never fall in love with a stock because it won't love you back. So learn how to analyze stocks and make right decisions, not emotional decisions, because that's where we find out we get ourselves into the most trouble. So the stock that's got the best combination of VST in this list is Facebook. Let's analyze the stock. The stock is currently trading at $235. It's got a value of $303. We can clearly see, because we have an intrinsic value on the stock, that the stock is currently trading under its value. It's an undervalued stock. That's point number one. Next, let's look at RV. Remember, that's the stock's long-term price appreciation potential as compared to a AAA corporate bond. Long-term, this is a stock that I want. It is above the value of 1, and at a value of 1.45, it tells me that Facebook should outperform that AAA corporate bond by 45% over the next 1 to 3 years. Long term, that's a stock that I want. Let's move over to relative safety, that indicator of risk, the consistency and predictability of a company's financial performance. Remember, when a company can consistently meet or exceed earnings expectation, what happens to that stock's price? Tends to go up. That makes it more attractive for investors to buy. Well, Facebook has got a relative safety of 1.4. It's a pretty darn safe stock. So good upside potential, good safety. Now, RV and RS are our fundamental indicators. When we analyze stocks, we analyze both with the insight of, or with fundamental analysis with the insight of technical analysis, because RT is now our technical indicator for analyzing stocks. It is a price-based indicator. Remember, above the level of 1 on any of these stocks is favorable. Below the value of 1 is unfavorable. Relative timing on Facebook is at 1.71 on a scale between 0 and 2. This stock is not only moving, it's moving up beautifully and fast. So the fundamentals behind the stock are there. I'd like to own it long term. It is a safe stock and it's going up in price. That's a 3-time winner. And no wonder you can tell why this stock in this list has the highest VST ranking. Now, another indicator, CI. CI is known as the Comfort Index. Comfort Index looks at a stock's ability to withstand long or lengthy price declines. Every stock goes down in price at some point in time, but that indicator CI will show me the stock's ability to withstand long or lengthy price declines and become resilient enough to rebound and start moving higher. So notice that on Facebook, the CI is below the value of 1, which tells me that altogether, Facebook looks good. It is more susceptible to a pullback in the stock's price. So you get to weigh out what's good, what fits you, what you may not like. Let's go look at another thing, earnings growth rate. Every stock can either grow or lose in their earnings. Facebook grows their earnings at a clip of 18%, and it's got positive earnings. I've got a lot of different other parameters that I can look at. But for right now, in analyzing these stocks, let's just stick to the basic stuff to help you make the right decision at the right time. All right. So let's scroll back over. Let's look at the next stock. Gold. Everybody's talking about gold. Everybody's talking about gold. EQX, stocks trading at 1093, value of 21, clearly undervalued. The stock's got good long-time potential. Watch the dollar. Watch the dollar, because as it gets weaker, not if it gets weaker, it's going to be more so when it gets weaker at some point in time. There's a lot of stimulus out there, folks. When it gets weaker, gold is going to start to pop and start running. Right now, it's got good upside potential. That lends into the credibility of knowing that it will go up at some point in time. But it's not a real safe investment right now. Gold is more of a riskier investment. Remember, relative safety is an indicator of risk, and it looks at the predictability and the continuation of a stock meeting or exceeding its earnings expectation. But gold is on the rise right now. So this helps me to make a good decision. It's good upside. The safety is not there. This is more of an aggressive play. I can use these 3 or 4 indicators to help me determine whether the stock is a long-term, whether it's a swing trade, or whether it is more of a trade from a trade perspective. Apple currently under its value. Good upside potential, good safety, good timing, going up in price. You got to love it. Now you can see how we can roll through this list to make decisions. Let's do this. Let's go look at the top few stocks that are at the top of the list. Let's view their stock graph. All right, I'm going to put it on a 3-month graph, and I'm looking at a basic graph of the stock. What we're looking at is the price shown in candlesticks. I have a 40-day moving average, which is a good middle-of-the-road moving average, especially if you are swing trading. And there's that indicator, RT, that tells me if the stock is in an uptrend. How about matching when a stock's price goes above the 40-day moving average and RT goes above the value of 1? Bada boom, bada bing, look at that run. Now, notice this too. As the stock's price pulls way away from this 40-day moving average, how can I manage that trade? Well, let's simply move that moving average to track price. Let's move it in half. Let's move it from a 40-day moving average to a 20-day moving average. Wow, that does a much better job of helping me to maintain a stock that's in my portfolio without emotionally investing. That's the beautiful thing about looking at a graph. A graph is worth 1,000 words, and it tells a story as long as you're willing to listen to the story. Sometimes the story is not what you want to hear, but sometimes the story is telling you what you need to hear. And once that happens, you take emotion out of the equation and make better decisions. Let's go to the next stock. Next stock is the gold stock, doing a really good job tracking with that 20-day moving average. This is a simple moving average, by the way, doing a beautiful job. Even though I know that it's a little bit more risky, how about being able to manage the trade with a moving average? What else is at the top of the list? Apple. Man, you can draw a ruler line under this stock. This is what we would call a ruler stock. Now, how about Apple is still far away from the existing 20-day moving average? Let's manage it some more. Let's drop it down to a 10. And wow, you can use moving averages to draw your own trend line on each individual stock to manage the trade. It only gets better from here. All right, that's a beautiful looking equity curve. But you notice something with the down day today? What's up with all of the candles today? They're all down. These moving averages, these stocks are still moving up. That's why I tell you, one day doesn't make a trend. But if I see the stock's price starting to approach that moving average, what can I do? Tighten stops, manage the trade. Just because it's down today doesn't mean you panic sell. You need to get out of the habit of panic selling. What do? Plan the trade and trade your plan. That's it in a nutshell, folks. All right, so those were some of the best stocks in the data in the list. Let's look at the stocks that are under the most pressure. Let's sort this list by RT or relative timing. Remember, that is the indicator that tells me if a stock is in an uptrend or not. Let's look at the stocks that have an RT below 1. These are the stocks that you pay attention to. Let's analyze them real quick. Kellogg, slightly over its value. Within 10%, we call it fairly valued. Upside potential, not there. Safety, not there. Timing, is it moving up? No. That becomes a 3-time loser. And what do they have? Negative earnings growth. They're growing their earnings in a negative manner. That may not be a stock that I should still maintain in my portfolio. Walgreens, fairly valued. Upside potential, not there. Relative safety, not there. Relative timing, not there. So these are stocks that you may own because somebody told you about them and say, oh yeah, over the long term, they're going to make money. Do I want to wait for the long term to make money, or would I rather put my money into a stock that's currently doing what I'd like for it to do, which is to go up in price? Well, you make the call on that. Preferably, I'd like to have my money where the stock price is going up. Why? Because money goes where money grows. I'd rather put my money in a position that's making money than having to wait for the long term for the stock to start making money. Just think about that. JetBlue, airlines are in the news, aren't they? Because they're rocking and rolling because the world is slowly but surely reopening because of the pandemic. Well, let's do a deeper dive into JetBlue. The stock is currently undervalued. Its upside potential is there. Okay, I'll give you that. Is it a safe stock? Not really. Is it going up in price right now? Not really. So you look at TV, you listen to your friend, you go have water cooler talk, and you say, somebody say, man, I'm making a killing on JetBlue. Well, how many days did it take for you to make that killing? Well, a couple of days. Okay. Do I really want to hold that stock long term? Do I really want to risk my money in that kind of a trade unless my thinking and my goal is to be a more aggressive trader? And maybe you do. But if these are stocks that you're trying to hold for the long term, maybe you need to rethink this situation. All right, last one. This is on oil. Oil is another big news in the market. This stock is way over its value. Upside potential, not there. Safety, not there. Timing, not there. And this is something that I talk about on YouTube as well every Thursday on something called Trending Thursday. We talk about the stocks that are making the news. I'd love for you to join me. I'll give you more information on that in a moment. All right, so now we can see what stocks are doing good in our portfolios that we can hold on to, but because of today's activity, we might think about tightening stops. Not panic selling, but tightening stops. That allows me to take the winners off the table a little quicker, and it also gives me the ability to limit losses on some of these stocks as well, because a lot of times, folks, we sit into a stock way too long. Why? Well, you know it's going to go up in time. All right. Again, I go back and ask that question. Do you want to wait for it in time, or would you rather take action, take profits off the table, or mitigate losses and move on to the next trade? So just think about that. Now, this is my portfolio, and these are the stocks that have RTs below 1. These stocks are now all in downtrends. Watch this. And I'm going to have you look at the watch list average down below, RV, RS, RT, VST. Once I delete these stocks, since they're all highlighted, right click, let's go see if the values down here increase, okay? We'll click on delete. RV was at 1.10, it stayed. Relative safety didn't move that much. RT didn't move that much. That's fine. But maybe I'm now only investing in the stocks that are doing what I want them to do. Now, do all of these have perfect RV, RS, RTs, VST? No. But all of these stocks are at least in an up trend. And with today's activity in the market, I can see which ones are moving up, which ones are moving down. The majority of them are moving down, tighten stops. Now, once we've done that, we call this weeding the garden. Once we've done that, now we need to go find new stocks to get into. I'm going to show you a wonderful way to stay on top of what's running at any point in time in any market conditions, whether the market is bullish, whether it's bearish or moving sideways. I'm going to show you how to stay on top of what's hot and stay out of what's not. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're going to talk about industries. We have an industry viewer. If I click on it, the industries, we track 221 industries in our database. And from here, they're all ranked between 1 and 221. Well, these are what we call our high-flying industries. These are the ones that are rocketing up to the top of the list, and these are the stocks that you could possibly take a look at. Well, what's the first one? The number one is building, residential, commercial. Notice, though, in the top 10, building, 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 building. What does that tell you, folks? That building is a hot industry when I've got those many industries in the top 10 or 15 or so. Things that make you go, Let's start with number one. Here's the number one, building, residential, commercial. What I'm going to do is right-click on that industry. I'm going to go up to view the stocks in that industry group. This is a good way to start to find stocks to get into at the right time. But wait a minute, let me step back a little bit. We looked at the home page. We looked at this was a time to be more cautious in the market than not, right? So keep in mind, given that information, how do I invest in these stocks? Cautiously. So what do I mean by that? Let's highlight the top few in here. I click, view the stock graph. Let's go put this on a 3-month graph. Why do I like a 3-month graph? What happens every 3 months on a stock? Earnings. Earnings is the engine that moves the stock's price higher. So if you notice, I put earnings on every time I'm in a 3-month graph, earnings is in the picture somewhere. Now, interesting about MTH, notice that the stock is nicely above the 40-day moving average. RT is above 1, stock's in an uptrend. What's the stock's price doing? From that high, pulling back. What did I tell you that the graph was? It was a story. Listen to this story. It may not be the story you want to hear, but it's the story that you need to hear to make the right decision. So right now, maybe I don't pull the trigger on that. Maybe not that one either. So the industry is rising, but what is it starting to do? It's starting to fall. So that's interesting, knowing I'm just quickly going through the graph, see if there is one that is rocking. Notice that they're not. All right, that's fine. So even though the industry is the fastest moving industry, let me get back to the software, is the fastest moving industry, let's go to the next industry. Building is in here too. Let's go to industry number 3, computer graphics. Let's right click, view the stocks in that industry group. Let's go analyze these stocks. I'm not going to analyze them. I already know that they're in a hot industry, right? Let's go highlight it, right click, view the stock graphs. This stock was moving up nicely, pulling back today, but just coming off a fresh new 3-month high. Today's a down day. Even the good stocks will be affected, right? Same thing with CDMS. Hitting a new 3-month high, today is not a good day. So I'm loving that we're finding stocks hitting a new 3-month high because we're looking at the fastest industries. But today is just a down day. And all I do now, some of these stocks I don't want, but some of these don't look so bad because they're trading real closely to their new highs and nicely above the 40-day moving average. And RT is above the value of 1. So keeping all of that in mind, I'm like, hey, these are stocks that and what you do, you put them into a watch list, keep your eyes on them. Who's to say that the market's not going to go up tomorrow? This is a little iffy market right now. There's a lot of things that are out here. There's a lot of news driving the market. This is, in my opinion, still a very Fed-induced market. So what do you have to do? This is a good time to more so be a trader than a longer term investor. But if you are a long-term investor and some of the stocks that you're in, let the graphs help to monitor what's going on in big time. See if any of your stocks have RTs below 1. Those are the stocks that are really hurting your portfolio. So those were the high flyers. Those are the industries that are at the top of the list to pay attention to. I'm going to show you one other thing. How about finding the industries that are doing what we call moving and shaking? The industries that may not be at the top of the list, but are starting to move their way up the list. So we have a search for that. We're going to go to Unisearch. That's our searching tool. And we're going to go to a folder called Delta Searches Industries. All right. Now, what is a delta? A delta, Brian talks a lot about it, specifically from the world of options. It is a percentage change, and I'm going to use a delta on one of our indicators, which is that RT indicator. It is a smart, fast indicator, folks, that will really hone in on stocks you should own and stocks you should not own currently. Now, I can't tell you what stocks to buy or sell because I'm not a broker, but I can help you use this database of information to make better decisions. So let's go to a 10-day RT delta. Over the last 10 days, let's find what industries have been on a rise, and that will help you in the current market's conditions to find stocks to get involved in. Now watch this. This is going to knock your socks off. All right, make sure your feet are clean. This is going to knock your socks off. Let's run it as of today at 11:56. All right, that's not the right time. Let's stream it. There we go, at 1:33. There we go. Let's run it. Watch this. Down day today, market looks like it might be turning around. What's at the top of the list, folks? Holy smokes. How about using the database, using the industries that are moving up? How about out of 221 industries, ETF shorts is number 220, but over the last 10 days is up by RT Delta 38%. Who wants to find the industries that are on the run before they get to be the top industries and they're talked about in the news? Well, if that's what you want, this is a great opportunity to find out what industries are moving and shaking, and ETF shorts are at the top of the list. Get ahead of the curve. Now, if I right click, let's go view the stocks in that industry group. Move this over. Whew, I get excited over this stuff. Now, as I'm looking at this group, first thing I want to do is make sure that I've got average volume. I need to make sure I've got liquidity. So I'm going to sort by average volume. All right, so now I'm looking at contra ETFs that are the most popular, and look at them. Look at them today. Well, that makes sense on a down day, right? But the industry's trying to find out what's moving and shaking. We had the opportunity to let the program tell us what to do and when to do it. How much work did I have to do to make that happen? Just think about that. Let that sink in for a second. The software did everything that you needed to have happen to bring to your fingertips what to do. The SQQQ up 6% today. On the large cap bit, I just go down the list. Look at them. They're rocking and rolling, and the database brought to your attention the industries which are moving the fastest by way of that RT indicator, finding the stocks by the short-term price trend over the last 10 days. I like 10 days. It's 2 trading weeks. All right. So that's in a nutshell. I got through a lot of information in a short amount of time, but hopefully it was impactful enough to help you to make a decision on, wow, I can make my life a little easier with a software like VectorVest. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't let me sit here and tell you that investing in the market is easy, because it ain't. But what it will do, what the software will do for you, it will give you a better perspective. It will give you more information. And with that perspective and information, you're going to make a better, well-informed decision on the stocks that you own or don't own. And there's a lot of different ways to find the right stocks for you. Those were just 2 ways. Folks, that was just the tip of the iceberg to help you to find some stocks to get into to refresh your portfolio. Now, I have a last slide, but I'm going to wait until I hear from Brian in regards to any questions before I go jump on board with how to get in contact with me or learn more about VectorVest. So, Brian, I am done, and I think that I may be able to answer any questions that you may have. Just don't make them really hard. Don't make me think too hard. Man, no. That was a lot. That expels a lot of energy to do this. So I just don't want super hard questions.
All right, Glenn. I love it. I love it. Okay, so one of the things, one of the first questions that have been addressed is VectorVest a part of the Ally platform? And so that would be the first one that we would need to address straight up. What is VectorVest, and who is VectorVest, and how are you associated with Ally? And I guess I'll let you run with that, Glenn.
All right, so VectorVest is a stock analysis and portfolio management system where there's a lot of emphasis on market timing, on analyzing stocks, and being able to build portfolios. It's a lot of different things incorporated inside of the VectorVest software. But the main thing is market timing, analyzing stocks, okay? Now, Ally is one of our partner brokers. We have 3 of them. And what we can do is by way of this tool at the top that I'm not going to click on, but it's called RoboTrader. It will allow us to trade directly from the VectorVest software into one of our partner brokers, one of which is being Ally. So if I like a stock, well, let's do this real quick. If I like a stock, view the stocks in the industry group, and I've done my work, I look, and I right-click on the stock. Notice that right here, I have Trade Now, and I can trade with any of our partner brokers. So let's do that. Right here at the top 2, I have Trade Now, and I can connect to a brokerage. And from here, I can link up to Ally, and that will allow me to trade directly from the VectorVest software into my Ally account. So we work together. And that's what it's all about. You can do your analyzing of the stocks on our side and then actually trade directly from the platform into Ally.
All right, Glenn. Excellent. Thank you for letting us know exactly who VectorVest is relative to Ally. And then I have Cal. Cal is asking a question. Is relative value same as modeling? And if so, what metrics do you have with regards to WRT, with regards to accuracy of the model? So that's a loaded question for you, Glenn.
All right. So one thing that you'll learn about me, I talk about what I do know. I don't know what modeling is, and whether that makes me a novice in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm not sure what modeling is, but I will go into a deeper understanding of what relative value is. Relative value looks at a stock's long-term appreciation potential. So that was the dictionary version. Let me talk to you one-on-one. Relative value tells me that over the next 1 to 3 years, do I want to own this stock or not? Compared to a AAA corporate bond. So when you say modeling, Brian, you may need to help me with the modeling part, but the RV, the relative value, tells me that long-term over the next 1 to 3 years, is this a stock that I want to hold in my portfolio?
Well, when you're talking a little bit about modeling, what modeling is referring to is more so back testing, like looking at what a model account may be. And I know you can talk a little bit about that inside the software. So is relative value same as modeling? It's a little bit kind of mixing metaphors a little bit by asking the question that way. But overall, I think it would be more so to back testing a specific type of portfolio overall.
I agree with that. Modeling. If you're going to look for a model, yes, I have a back tester capability. And from there, I can say, wow, here's a trading plan that I like. It knows when to buy, what to buy, when to sell. That's, if you're going to call it a model, that's what I want, a trading plan. And I can look at a trading plan. Now, RV, a little different than that. RV looks at an individual stock's ability to make money over the next 1 to 3 years. A modeling has a full package. of knowing when to buy, what to buy, when to sell.
All right.
All right. So now, any other questions? Or
no, we got a couple more.
Okay.
Actually, we have unlimited questions, but we're just going to address as many as we can.
Okay.
All right, Glenn?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Next one. This one's a fairly simple one. Since we've had a couple of tough ones, I'll give you an easy one per your request.
Thank you.
Does VectorVest track ETFs? Does the software track ETFs?
Sure it does. Remember what was the fastest moving industry that we just looked at right now? It was country ETF, right? But yes, I have an ETF viewer here where I can, we track over 1,625 ETFs. These are both bullish and bearish, but yes, we do. And I can also, from the watch list viewer, go into my ETFs, and I've got watch lists built on non-leverage, double leverage, triple leverage, contras, regular. You look through here, folks. Anything you want to know about ETFs, I got it for you. I got it. Whether you like Pro Shares, you like Spiders, you like Vanguard, all of it is right here. We have it segmented out for you. So yes, we do.
All right. Okay, next one. GF that's all the handle that we have here. How do account types and different rules around account types, example Roth or individual non-retirement, affect refresh and reset? So in other words, would you have a different approach to investing based off of the type of account that you are in?
Yes. Let's go back to the viewers tab. Let's go back to the watch list I created. All right. So depending on, remember I got rid of the stocks that had RTs below 1? Well, maybe from a longer term retirement portfolio, maybe I use that indicator that shows me the stock's ability to meet or exceed its earnings expectations quarter over quarter, year over year. Now I've got a different set of stocks in here that I pay attention to. All of the stocks that have a relative safety above 1, these are the stocks that I would want to have in my retirement portfolio. Whereas if I'm looking to be a value player, I sort the list by relative value. These are the stocks that long term I want to hold in my portfolio because I know that long term they will make money. If I'm more of an aggressive trader, again, then I sort it by RT and find the stocks that have the RTs below the value of 1. So if I'm wanting to be retirement minded, relative safety, I can sort my watch list by. If I'm looking for good value plays, relative value is a good indicator to sort by. And if I'm looking to be more of a trader, RT is a good thing to manage and look for stocks. So yeah, I can use that same watch list and accommodate any type of investor. Absolutely.
All right. Okay, Glenn. So here we go. Another fairly simple one back at you. And we got time for just a few more here, but here's the next one. What about dividends? Does that play a role in making decisions on stocks and specifically using the VectorVest software?
Sure. So let's go. Let me move this over a little bit. Remember, I talked to you about my retirement-minded stocks. So let's sort by relative safety. I show which stocks pay a dividend and which ones don't. Not only that, let's say here's a stock that pays a dividend, Old Dominion. All right, pays a dividend. How about I've got an indicator in here that talks about dividend safety? How likely is the company going to be able to raise or maintain that dividend? So dividend safety plays a role. Apple pays a dividend, high safety. And this is an indicator that's cast on a scale between 0 and 99. The higher it is, if I'm a more longer term investor, more of a dividend playing investor, man, using that indicator dividend safety, as long as it's over 50, I have the high probability that the stock is going to pay a dividend. The people who are going to use dividend, though, are the people who are looking to make money in more than one way on the stock. If I'm going to be long term on the stock, capital appreciation. When the stock goes down, I play options, sells covered calls. I can make money even though the stock is going down. And dividend, because you get that dividend over and over again, it just pads your portfolio. But dividends are a great way, primarily for the longer term investors. The shorter term investor, I'm really not worried about getting the dividend because I'm probably going to be in and out even before the dividend execution.
Oh, all right. Okay, Glenn. I got another one, but I got to go to my other computer to ask you this. Okay.
Okay.
So
All right.
let me read you this one.
By the way, these are all
Overall,
great questions.
yeah, overall, can the VectorVest software automate sales and purchases? That's one of the questions. And then just a lot of questions about individual stocks. A lot of people would like to see the VST for this stock or that stock. I don't think we're going to be able to address those questions today.
Okay.
That's going to be more of a different platform. Sometimes we actually will do that inside some of the other events that VectorVest will guest speak for us. But I'll let you go with those two questions about automating the trades overall, and then give them a little bit more on your background too, Glenn, and how they can get a hold of you.
Okay, so we have portfolio capabilities where I can run a paper trading portfolio of any kind and go to see what's going on with those portfolios. All right, will they be automated? The answer to that question is yes. Now, let me address that from a different perspective. If you're saying automated with one of our partner brokers, not fully yet. All right, we can trade through that robo trader. Okay? We can trade through that robo trader, and from here we can then turn around. We still have a human element to be able to complete the trade. So it'll tell me, hey, I'm giving you an alert. Go buy this stock with your broker. You have to look at it and go, okay, I approve it, and then it goes out and it makes a trade. So it's not fully automatic. It's what we call semi-automatic, where it does take the human element into place. Now, what was the second question? I apologize.
Well, just a little bit more. Just tell them a little bit how they can find out a little bit more about VectorVest, and then I got a couple more for you too. Questions are just lining up left and right in that chat box. And don't forget, on all these events, this is one of the benefits of doing this live. You can put those questions in the chat box at any segment, and we'll address them at the end of the segment. So
Excellent.
A little bit about VectorVest, where you come from, and then I got another question from Angelica up next. Okay.
So I work here in North Carolina. Any questions that I can answer for you, you can send an email. Let me tell you something about sending me an email. If you send me an email, I will answer in about 1 to 2 years. So just be patient. It'll take me a little bit of time to answer them. But if you want questions answered about the software, you can always go, here's our phone number to contact our product support. If you want to learn more about the software platform, here's our website. As I mentioned, I do have a live stream every Thursday on YouTube called Trending Thursday. What you need to do is go out to YouTube, search for VectorVest, and subscribe to the channel. It is a live stream along with a podcast. And also there, I will do a quick fire of stocks to be analyzed for you as well. Again, everything that I've learned about the market, I've learned from the VectorVest software. I am not an expert or a guru by any shape of the imagination, but I love the software. I'm a salesman by trade. And I've always felt that I could not get behind anything that I wasn't passionate about. I am passionate about teaching people how to make money in the market with this software.
All right, Glenn.
All right.
I got to cut you off there because I got one last question. I need a short answer for it. We got about 30 seconds to answer this question.
Understood.
Angelica, what would you say to long-term investors who aren't day trading? How do we effectively read what is being displayed in your software?
All right. So
more long term.
For the long term, my suggestion would be we have market timing. I remember I told you that was one of the things that we do is that we time the market, but we time the market. We give indications on when it's okay to buy stocks and not okay to buy stocks. Folks, this is the movement of 8,200 stocks. So Angelica, when I'm looking at a market timing graph, and we can time the market, we don't predict where it's going to go. We can time it. We can get our subscribers in and out at the right time, no matter how you invest in the market. And that's to answer your question. If you're a longer-term investor, we have a longer-term market timing signal for you.
All right, Glenn. Well, that's going to be it for this wonderful segment about how to refresh and repurpose your portfolios.